Okay, we're good.
Fantastic. All right. I apologize, everyone. I need to hop off, but I hope you all have a great meeting. Thank you all for coming. Jeff, I'm looking forward to watching the recording, and apologies I can't stay.
No, sure. Good luck out there.
All
Thanks
right.
for
Thanks, guys.
inviting me.
Talk soon.
Bye.
All right. Well, welcome to the general meeting of the Interplanetary Chamber of Commerce.
Hi. I just want to check, am I supposed to be in this meeting? Is it a leadership meeting or general meeting? It was available, so I wanted to hear more about the organization.
Yeah, wonderful. Welcome. This is our general meeting. Tony had the meeting. He had to hop off. He had the meeting maybe labeled as leadership. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think messages are going to the leadership meeting. That's what it says.
Oh, okay.
The group. So I just wanted to check.
No,
Must
this
be our
is
mistake. But we're happy to have you. Great.
and it's Carolyn. So sorry I was late joining. Are you sharing now, Andrew?
You are chairing. Is that all right?
I just have to drive for 10 minutes, so I don't know.
Okay.
I can't see an agenda at the moment to run through. My apologies.
No, I think the three of us weren't. Tony had to hop off, and here I am. I don't have the agenda either, but I'm happy to get us started. Jeff's going to give us a presentation today, and there's just a couple of us, so there won't be any kind of voting, or we don't have a quorum for any kind of business. So today we're going to hop right into our presentation from Jeff, and we'll give that a recording. We've got Tamara here. Is this your first time to join us, Tamara?
Yeah, I've actually met Tony at in Milan. Yeah, and we had like a brief meeting there. So through Space Court Foundation, we worked together, and also I think he's a part of Space Career Academy, which I helped launch. And I'm assisting Kelvin from the Space Career Academy. So that's me.
Oh yeah, Tamara. Hi. I know you
Hi.
already from the Space Career Academy meeting. I thought I recognized you.
And Space Court Foundation as well. So, but my link is here, whoever wants to add me. I've always been interested in the work of the Chamber of Commerce. It resembled to me how we named Space Court Foundation Space Court, but not really a court, although compiling all resources and educating. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about you guys and the meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, this once a month we have a kind of a general meeting where we invite a speaker to come in and record a presentation that we put on Zoom. And so that's what we're doing today. And Jeff has been gracious enough to volunteer to give us a presentation about his work that he does. And I think without any other business, looks like Carolyn's got to drive and Tony's not here. So I think we have no other business to do today. So we could go ahead and get started if you'd like, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andrew.
Awesome.
I'm gonna go ahead and share. Is that okay?
Share, and then you want to hit the record button?
Oh yeah, that's true. I have all the controls here, don't I?
Yeah.
I did hit the record button already, so we're good.
Are we recording? Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yes, wonderful.
Okay.
Take it away. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks, Andrew, and I appreciate Carolyn, Andrew, Tony, and allow me to have this opportunity to talk. So, my perspective, I'm coming in new to this group, and really appreciate the opportunity is to talk a little bit about how my career and my work now in academia ties into the Chamber of Commerce work. And so, just as an introduction to me, I've just retired last year from 38 years in the aerospace community. The first 20-ish were all in industry, and I kind of went up the ranks from project to program manager up to corporate VP, and then decided that I really wanted to give back and become part of the government. So I went to NASA and then spent the last 18 years working over at NASA. So had a lot of good opportunities to work both in satellite communications, flight dynamics, as well as in satellite design development, the Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite that launched in 2018. I was the project manager from the beginning in like 2012, 2013, all the way through launch and commissioning. So I had a lot of great opportunities to kind of follow the full life cycle of spacecraft development, work with a lot of different vendors and members of the aerospace community. We were the first NASA mission to launch on a Falcon 9, so I got to work closely with the SpaceX team and had that opportunity. But in the meantime, I was also always involved in academic pursuits. And so, one of the things I focused on was working with the Capital Technology University. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But I've been an adjunct professor for over 20 years. And so even though I was working full time, I always wanted to find time to give back because I felt like a lot of professors when I went to school were great, but they were full-time academia, right? They had gotten their PhDs, they went right into teaching. And so as I was starting to think about a career, I really didn't have that many people I could go to talk about how do I transition from academia into the workforce. And so what I was mentioning before was that before we started was that one of the things I was asked to do was go to the local Brevard County Chamber of Commerce. Oh,
I'm already started here.
so Manny, your mic's open. I don't know if you wanted to say something.
Oh,
That's okay.
no, sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay. But so I was encouraged to go as a student to the local Chamber of Commerce and kind of interact with some of the local aerospace community in the Kennedy Space Center area. And I found that was a great opportunity, very eye-opening for me. And so my academic world has always revolved around trying to bring real-world professional experience to my students by having my foot in both sides at the same time. So, oh yeah, and I forgot. So I didn't start off with my first slide. So my first slide, that is me when I was 7 years old. And that's my birthday party. And that's the Saturn V birthday cake that my mom put together for me. I was 7 years old in 1969. And I was so excited about the Apollo program and the idea that people were going to be going to the moon. My brother wanted to go to down to Orlando because they had just opened Disney World. And I wanted to go to the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center. So we drove down from New Jersey and spent a little bit of time at both. And so that's where I got my passion for being in this industry. And it has not changed. I'm still that 7-year-old kid. I'm still excited about being part of this industry and kind of looking forward. I love working with students now who are at that same kind of like early career, excited about everything and looking forward to an exciting opportunities in the future. So anyway, so what do I do now? So I retired last year. I took on a full-time job now at Capital Technology University, and I'm now the department head for the Astronautical and Space Engineering Department for undergraduate. And so my main day is spent working with students, working with faculty, trying to put together our curriculum. And our school, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in the next couple of charts, our school really is focused on professional training, right? So it's a ABET certified astronautical engineering program, but many of my classes, in fact, almost all of them at this point, are held at 5:30 in the evening. That allows my students to be out working on internships. I have many students that are working out professionally on internships from maybe their second or third year on. It also allows me to bring on faculty as adjuncts who are professionals in the space field. And so we'll talk about that more later. But it's, for me, kind of the perfect union, like my whole life, of bringing together professionals who are working in this field with students who are trying to build careers. And so that's what our school's kind of focused on. Well, and again, we'll talk more about it. I'm also, in my retirement world, I'm really passionate about giving back and getting in with students and at all ages, trying to encourage students to follow STEM careers, get involved in aerospace. And so I'm involved with Kelvin O'Doom in the Space Career Academy and helping him develop a Space 101 training course that will be rolling out hopefully in the not so distant future. I'm also on the board of directors for the Fire Rockets Challenge, and that's the picture in the upper right there. That's Robin Houston, who has a passion for bringing students into the STEM field by having them join a model rocket building and competition, a team that is, goes international and really engaged in kind of how to develop new model rockets and be competitive. And so I love being part of that as well as part of their board of directors. So there's also Sean Jacobs, who runs the Future African Space Explorers STEM Academy. And so I've been working with him and trying to encourage students in Africa to get involved in aerospace. And so I'm going to be one of the speakers at this kind of like 10-week long course they're holding over the spring and summer. I worked in life support in a past life. I spent a lot of time in Russia in 1993 looking at, as a life support engineer, looking at how the US and the Russians post-Soviet Union could work together collaboratively, and it ended up I was on the first technical team in 93, and at the end of that year we were kind of well on the way to what would become the International Space Station program. And so it's an opportunity for me to kind of revisit my time as a life support engineer and help them in their STEM engagement. They're going to be looking at having students develop a curriculum for or a program for sending humans to Mars. And so I'm going to be showing them like how much resources you need to bring for humans and how to close the loop more and what the implications of that are for life support. So the next one, the other thing I'm trying to do is get out more and give talks about, my experiences over 38 years working in the civil space side and some lessons learned, right? So I see a lot of changes going on in the government right now. And, I think I learned a lot about how there are places where it gentrified a bit over time, right? We become kind of more and more bureaucratic because as different issues came up on different programs, we added more rules, we added more processes. And I gave a talk at the MIT Lincoln Laboratories at one of their advanced prototype engineering technology symposiums, where they were looking at how does industry bring in new technologies into the space field. And my talk was, I was the keynote speaker, and I was talking a lot about how we need to try to remove some of the barriers, right? We become maybe a little bit more risk averse, maybe a lot more than we used to be. And with clear guidance and with a real good risk assessment, I think we could do a much better job of more quickly moving advanced technologies out into operational systems. And so I worked a lot on laser communications, and we did the lunar laser demonstration back when I was at NASA. I helped with that project, and I kind of feel like in the end, laser communications is one of many technologies that could be so invaluable for commercial space, for government space, if we would kind of push it a little harder and get it in the applications where it could really be valuable. So I'm also working with the International Space University over in Strasbourg. We're going to be we have a course we're putting together, and you guys will hear more about that in the next month or two as it gets advertised. I also go out to elementary schools, and there's no better place to really inspire a young person. I go to a couple schools, and I've been doing it for like 15 years. So when I say I go out to an elementary school, I am there every year talking to third, fourth, fifth graders at Career Day about what it would be like to work in aerospace. And what's funny is this is my normal outfit. I love, the old school vest and a black tie. And I will go back to these schools, and there will be little kids, like 8 years old, 9 years old, that'll have their little vest and tie on because they remembered me from the year before. So I'm hoping that some of them are inspired to become aerospace engineers at some point. And I think that's really the key for me, is that at the young age, like when I was a kid growing up in New Jersey in a factory town with Hercules and DuPonts, we did not have aerospace engineers coming to visit our school. So when I said I wanted to work in the space program at 7 years old, my parents didn't have a clue what that would be like and how to get me involved. And so I think, my goal is to get out as much as I can and really try to just spark that interest, make them feel like it is a career field that they could pursue to get more young people that want to be involved. And so I'm also kind of working on the other side of trying to market space, and that is working with film directors. And so there's a picture in the middle there that's ICoC Sherman. And Kosh came down to our school and gave a presentation about his film, Clara. And if anybody has not seen the movie Clara, I highly recommend it. He made a sci-fi movie. He's a young filmmaker in Canada, and he made a film about the mission TESS that I was the project manager for. and he wrote a movie that kind of extrapolated and said, "Hey, this exoplanet mission is looking for Earth-like planets. Could it possibly find alien life?" And so his movie was based on that. It won some awards at the Austin Film Festival, really well received. I think it just didn't ever get put out in the U.S. except for a couple cities, but it's definitely out there, and I definitely recommend it. And he and I are working together on a couple new films with, again, the idea of doing, I was inspired as he was by the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. And so our goal is to try to build movies that kind of portray kind of this near future vision of what could be in aerospace, not a negative future like a lot of movies do, but just a kind of a future state of where are we headed, like things like an interplanetary chamber of commerce, all those cool things that a future might hold as the aerospace industry really takes off. So my focus in my career right now is helping students become creative, intuitive, and coming up with ways to help them become elegant designers. And so we do a lot of hands-on experience here, building CubeSats, building sounding rocket payloads, balloon payloads. And really, to me, I watch companies like SpaceX and Rocket Lab and many others in the new space of commercial space. And I'm always amazed at the new capabilities they bring online. And I think those innovative thinkers, as an academic, I don't know yet how to train my students to be those innovative thinkers of the future. And so I'm constantly asking people questions and trying to do research on how do we turn out a new generation of inspired thinkers that can really help us kind of move to the future. So, and as I mentioned before, in college, I was taught a lot about chambers of commerce and the value they had in kind of from an education perspective, in bringing students into that world of what is business like when you get out of school, and what are the things you're going to have to be thinking about and in this field. And so I really appreciate the Interplanetary Chamber of Commerce getting started as a way for my students to kind of see more about what that future might look like and how to interact with people who work in that field. And I'm only going to spend 2 seconds, but our school's coming up on its 100th anniversary. We're right outside Goddard Space Flight Center. The National Security Agency is just up the road. Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, University of Maryland College Park. We're a small private university, kind of stuck in the middle of all of that. And really our goal as a private university is to provide kind of that hands-on training. It is still, again, an ABET certified engineering set of programs, but we are really trying to tie industry in with the way we develop curriculum, the way we put labs together, getting our students out in active internships in their second or third year to really get on the job training, as well as getting their 4-year degree. So we focused on cybersecurity for quite a while early on when that was becoming a new field. And we just started an undergraduate program in artificial intelligence. And so as the astronautical engineering lead, my goal, since all of that is critical to space of the future, is to work with the cybersecurity team to make sure my students have a background in cyber, and to work with the AI program to make sure my students have a good background in AI as well. Knowing that I have a big industry advisory board, that's the focus I hear is that, hey, your students better be prepared to work in that kind of environment where those skills are going to be needed as well. So, I'm again running this astronautical and space engineering department, and we are focused on space applications. We have the typical, orbital mechanics, spacecraft design, all those different kinds of classes. And I have a really active alumni group. So we graduate about maybe 10, a little bit less than 10 students a year. It's not a giant program. But again, for me, it's great because you get to know all the students. And we have about 150 plus alumni. I have taught everyone who's ever been through this program as an adjunct or now as a full-time professor. And so I've been reaching out to them, bringing them back in, because many of them have had great careers now, over 20 years. And so I'm bringing them back in to give me advice as well on how we need to focus for the future, as well as having an industry advisory board. And so our faculty, if you put us all together, we have over 200 years of professional experience working in the aerospace field. And except for me, all of the rest of them are still working full time for aerospace companies, for the government. And so the goal is they work in the area like Professor Mapson, Marcel Mapson on the left. He goes to work every day. He works on ground system issues with the NOAA, the Weather Satellite Program. He works for ASRC. He comes here at night. He teaches ground systems, right? Professor Carrico is the owner of SEE, Space Engineering. I can't remember the last word, but he is an orbital mechanics expert. I've worked with him in the past, going back into the late 80s. This is his field. He does orbit design, mission design, owns the company. And so we brought him out as an adjunct faculty just to teach orbital mechanics. And so the goal here is that these are all experts that do things during the day that are totally related to what they teach at night. So we have a couple labs. We have a Space Ops Training Center as our primary lab. And so we have the Hammers Corporation donated the Galaxy software a number of years back, and it helped us establish this lab, which we've had for maybe 15 to 20 years now. And so our goal is to use this as a training ground for students to learn how to interact with satellites, understand how computer interactions work with telemetry and commanding, understand ground system development, writing scripts, and using all kinds of tools, developing tools from mission planning all the way through real-time operations, orbit planning, trending. We have all the different tool sets in there. From now, we have different companies' tools as well. Like for orbit operations, we have Satellite Toolkit, and then we also have Free Flyer from AI Solutions. This way, students get a sense of how different applications are used and the nuances of the tools. And again, we teach the theory, but then it's really getting them in for hands-on training using the tools. And so I actually just bought a bunch of copies of Kerbal Space. So I want to use Kerbal Space Program for freshmen to give them their first orbital mechanics flavor when they first arrive in a kind of more fun way, but start teaching them some fundamentals so they'll be ready for the orbital mechanics course later on in their curriculum. So we have students spread out, our alumni spread out all over the country, working for the government, working for private industry. Most of them are still back in touch with me and our faculty and trying to give us advice on how to move our program forward and keep up with all the trends out there. And so that's really my focus going forward. And again, I really appreciate being invited to talk here at the Interplanetary Chamber of Commerce. To me, this is the perfect venue for myself and our school to learn more about industry needs, learn about trends, learn about what people are thinking about for the future that we should be thinking about teaching. I've been talking to Space Force, been talking to Space Command, I've been talking to anybody I can get in here to see what is it people are really looking for, what skills, what kind of training, to make sure that we incorporate that into our training material for our curriculum. So I think that kind of summed it up. And then on the bottom, my wife and I, we're getting older, and we're like, my brother passed away. He was an electrical engineer. He passed away when he was younger. And so I decided, as part of being here, is that I really wanted to inspire some young person who maybe could use a little help to get through this program and get their degree. And so we started a scholarship fund this past year, and it's been the most exciting part of my time here is meeting my first scholar that was the recipient of the first scholarship award. But I'm, again, whether it's through doing things like that or just kind of working with students, that is my goal, is to kind of help them and find that right place to start their career. So I don't know, I probably blathered on way too long. Anybody have any questions or anything?
That was perfect. Thank you so much. That was definitely,
Sure.
I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Anybody have any questions for Jeff?
Hey, Jeff, Manny Pimenta here.
Hi, Manny.
Don't have any questions right off the bat, but a lot of touch points in everything that you said. One of the things that I do is I go to schools, elementary schools and high schools near where I live, and talk to kids about space and also about this very positive vision, near future vision of what it will be like to become a spacefaring civilization. I actually have an appointment tomorrow to speak with 6th through 8th graders, and then also on Wednesday to go and speak with 8th graders again. And last week I was speaking with some high schoolers. So it's something I love to do, and again, inspire kids to become active participants in building and creating that future as a spacefaring civilization.
Yeah, absolutely. And Manny, I think the thing is, we can provide them the inspiration based on the careers we've had and the excitement we've had in our careers. What they can give us is, I bring in advisors and they're like, well, you need to do digital twins and more model-based system engineering. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm a child of the 60s. I'm going to have to bring in some younger people than me who could really help us with that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good mix of you inspire them about the future in space, and they bring with them all this new technology and concepts of how the world can work.
Yes.
Well, I can definitely help with digital twins. That's what my work is. So there you go.
Okay,
We
well,
should talk.
okay, and that it is one of these things that keeps coming up over and over again. And I think the idea, I want to buy a shaker table and a TVAC chamber, and the school's like, I think we need to develop a digital twin testing scenario. And I'm like, okay.
So this is funny because we have the shaker tables, we have the climatic chambers. We definitely need to talk because we've got all those facilities at my university.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Carolyn. And I like the idea of inspiring them through hands-on training, but I think as I talk to more people in the field today is very much do it in digital world, buy down
for
your
sure.
risk, and then you're going to just have a much better product when you print. Now, I've had in digital world an experience where somebody designing a flexure keeps trying to redesign it to make it better and better. So I think in computer world, you can get very complicated in how precise you get. So, but thank you. I definitely like to talk to you about that.
Yep, for sure. I will have to head out in a minute or two, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you very much for joining the Interplanetary Chamber of Commerce and the shout outs that you see the value. That's why we started it, and this is a bona fide Chamber of Commerce recognized by the United States and also the United Nations. Yes, thank you very much for that. We do have a number of initiatives. We do have subcommittees. We have an education subcommittee and or talent pipeline subcommittee. We have an event subcommittee. So do look at how you can get involved in some of these initiatives. We have, as I said, a number of the different committees that are trying to progress a number of different initiatives and events, membership committees. So we have new things coming out this year for the chamber, and hopefully we can get you involved more. So yes, thank you very much for presenting today. Andrew, I'm not sure, as you said, if we have any other business. I don't think we're in a position of giving formalized reports for the year yet from any of the subcommittees. I think we'll do that at the March general meeting.
Perfect. Yeah. And now would be the time if anybody else wants to say anything or give an update about their projects. If this would be the time to do it, if anybody has, and give them the floor.
Nice presentation, Jeff. Really great.
Thank you, sir.
I have a couple of small updates. On the 12th, we're flying out to Austin. We're invited by NASA to participate in their Artemis in Motion listening session to do a one-on-one meeting to see how we can help with NASA's message to the public about the Artemis mission and upcoming plans. And then I just received an invitation to go to Beijing to go present there and look for investors. So
great. And this is for Virtual Moon.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there for everybody in case they don't know already. Manny from Virtual Moon. Great. And Kelvin, do you have any updates?
On my end, so we're having our first space tank event where our cohort is going to pitch to a panel of investors. It's happening on March 6th. So we at Space Career Academy is really excited about that. Yeah.
Awesome. And we have Tamara here. Would you like to say anything about your companies or anything, Tamara, while we're here? Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you know Calvin, so you know me partially. And the other thing I'm currently contributing to is the Space Court Foundation. And the mission is to kind of raise awareness on spaceline policy, regulation everywhere, and to educate, young generations, young professionals interested to get into spaceline policy. aside from that, I'm working for some other clients on some coursework, similarly to what was mentioned before. And I'm an independent consultant for professional development and organizational development or business development. So that's me for short. If you'd like to know more about Space Court Foundation, I could shoot a link here, but I know that you know about Calvin and Space Career Academy, so I don't want to steal words from him.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, put in the chat and just give our viewers an idea of what the website domain is, maybe.
Sure, in just a moment.
Thank you.
I believe Space Court, or I think that after Milan, Tony and Chris is the co-founder of Space Court Foundation, are connected, and I believe that we are or supposed to be a member. So yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Well, if no one has any other business or want to give any updates, then I think that takes care of us for the day. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in to the Interplanetary Chamber of Commerce. And we'll see you next month.
Thank you, Andrew.
Andrew.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.